Hello, everyone. We're back with another live broadcast this afternoon. And this is Tracy coming to you live from New Hampshire Writers Project headquarters. And this afternoon, I'm speaking with Paula Munier. How are you, Paula?
Oh, fine. Lovely to be here. Thank you.
I'm really excited to talk with you and get to learn more about your book today. And if you are not familiar with the Holiday Showcase, Paula is one of over 55 authors featured on our website. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later on in the broadcast so that you can learn how to support the local literary community this holiday season. But I want to get right into it with you, Paula. And I found something that was really interesting on your website. And I was hoping we could start out with a conversation about this. So I
Sure.
love this. You say what your mission is to tell great stories and sell great stories. And your why is because the world needs them. Talk to me a little bit about that. That's really impactful. I love it.
Well, we all remember stories. We may not remember anything else, but remember a story. We remember stories from our childhood, our legends and myths, and we remember the stories of our own lives. And I think that when we're living in a dark world, and we're living in a dark world, stories of light are good. They're good for people, and they also show a way forward, right? And so my goal is always to write stories, and by day I'm an agent, so also to sell stories written by other writers that bring some hope and light into the world, even at its darkest.
I agree. And you also write about dogs, which we're going to get into, which excites me. So I can't
You.
wait to talk about that. But tell me, Paula, were you an agent first or were you a writer first?
I started off as a reporter
Okay.
a million years ago, and eventually I got into book publishing, and I was an acquisitions editor for 20 years. And after I left acquisitions, I became an agent. I actually joined my agent's literary agency, which thank you, Gina, for having me, because it's really my favorite job in publishing. And then I started writing fiction as well. And Gina sold my Mercy Carr series, which is what we're here to talk about today. So I've been on every seat at the table, agent, author, editor, everything but bookseller. And I think that must be the hardest of all.
Well, is that coming next after?
No. I love being an agent as I love being an editor, because when you're the author, it's your baby, you're giving birth, right? And that's fun and hard and challenging and satisfying. But it's also fun to be the editor or the agent, because then you're the midwife, right? You get to be in the room, you get to help this new book being born. And I love that process.
Yeah, I would agree. And so now you're a USA Today best-selling author, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Congratulations.
ma'am.
And so The Snow Lies Deep, what is that, the second, third book in the series?
It's actually the seventh book in the series.
Seven. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yes, you don't have to read them in order. It doesn't matter. But
Okay.
yes, it's my seventh Mercy Carr mystery.
Well, tell us a little bit about this character, Mercy Carr, just in case anyone is not familiar with your series. Tell us about this person.
Well, sure. Well, she's a former military policewoman who served in Afghanistan. And when she's wounded in a battle in Afghanistan, her fiance is killed in the same battle. And he's a dog handler. And his dog, Elvis, is a bomb sniffing dog. And the last thing he says to her is, "Take care of my dog." So when she comes home, she has to find Elvis, because although the Army takes fairly good care of their dogs once they finish their service, and Elvis is wounded too in that same battle, so he has to come home. Some dogs are defense contractor dogs, and they can end up in very perilous situations like kill shelters. So she has to rescue Elvis, bring him home to northern New England, and together they mourn their mission and their man, and they make the transition to civilian life and solve crimes in the New England wilderness at the same time.
Well, and I love it. I love that they're set in the New England wilderness. I know that you have a lot of influences on your writing, including dogs and the geographic location. Can you talk about other things that have influenced your writing as well?
Well, I got the idea for the whole series, and for the dog, Elvis, who's a Malinois. He was one of the dogs that I met at a Mission Canine Rescue fundraiser. And Mission Canine Rescue is an organization that finds these defense contractor dogs after their service who are in kill shelters, who need forever homes, and they save them and they bring them home and they find them forever homes. And I did this fundraiser where I got to meet all these dogs and their handlers. I got to meet the bomb sniffing dogs and their handlers, the soldiers. And I also got to meet cops and their drug sniffing dogs, and arson, firefighters and their arson sniffing dogs. I mean, there are all kinds of dogs doing all kinds of great work, search and rescue dogs, all these kinds of dogs. And I just fell in love with them, and I knew I had to write about them.
I love that you have included that in your writing. And from what I can tell on your website too, it sounds like dogs are prominent in all of the books in this series. Is that correct?
Absolutely. The dogs are characters too. Mercy, the heroine, she has the bomb sniffing dog, Elvis. And then she teams up with a local game warden and his search and rescue dog, a Newfoundland named Susie Bear. And together they solve crimes in the wilderness. So the dogs, well, when no one else can find anything in the woods, the dogs can, right? The dogs can find lost people in the woods. They can find smuggled items in the woods. They use their sense of scent to find things that the humans can't.
Right. Well, now, so Susie Bear, the Newfie, is that similar to your bear, the Newfie?
Absolutely. We have 4 rescue dogs here at home. We have Bear, who's a Newfoundland Retriever mix. We have Coco, who's a pure Newfoundland. And we have Bliss, who's a Great Pyrenees mix. And we now have a Malinois as well, just like Elvis. Yes, named Blondie. And she is fierce. She's as smart as Elvis.
They are such intelligent breeds, but they're very powerful and they have so much energy. So I give you a lot of credit.
Yes, she keeps us busy. And they're insanely athletic and insanely smart. We swear she speaks English. So.
So they're the ones who kind of channeled the book to you and said, this is what you will write.
Well, yes. And, it's great because I know that I'm getting the dogs right because I have living, breathing versions of my dogs in the books right here at home. So,
yeah, exactly. Well, and have you painted a little bit of your personality into Mercy Carr or any of the other characters in your books?
Well, I think Mercy, I grew up in a military family. I did not serve myself, but I think I always wondered, right? The road not taken. And so I think she's my idea of hopefully what I could have been. Of course, she's younger and thinner and stronger and smarter, and she has great red hair. But she's I guess she's my wish fulfillment, right? For another life that I may have led. Because a lot of my friends, growing up in the military, a lot of them did go into the military. And so I always wondered what it would have been like had I gone. And then the rest of the characters are always taken from sort of composite characters, right? The grandmother, Patience, is a composite of my grandmother's. And the colonel is actually my dad. And so I just sort of weave in various family members and friends and create different characters. And they're not the same, but they're inspired by people I already know and love.
Oh, I love that. And how do your friends and family feel about being characters in your books? Are they okay with that, or are they?
They're okay with that. My immediate family, I wrote a memoir called Fixing Freddie, true story about a mom, a boy, and a very, very bad beagle. And so I wrote that memoir several years ago. And so they got used to it because there I called, I named names there. They weren't fictionalized characters. So that sort of served as the training ground. So now they can't complain. And most of them are writers themselves. So, we tell our own stories our own way.
That's right. Well, and you mentioned that to read this book, you don't necessarily need to read the other books in the series. Can you talk a little bit about the person who this would be a perfect gift for, or someone that would like this series?
Well, I think anyone who likes mysteries would like it. And certainly if you like New England settings, you will like it. The one great part about setting a series in New England is we have such very distinct seasons, and each season offers different challenges and different plot opportunities. And so I make the most of that because I do love New England. And of course, if you like dogs, and we do have cats too, but if you like dogs especially, then I think you'd enjoy the stories.
Okay. Well, and if you are just joining us, we are talking with Paula Munier, who is the author of The Snow Lies Deep, 7th book in the Mercy Carr series. And she is one of over 55 authors being featured in this year's holiday showcase at our website, nhwritersproject.org. Head on over and take a look at all of the amazing works that our members are showcasing. And hopefully you will find a great gift on our site for that book lover on your list. And at the same time, you will be supporting the literary community. So we really appreciate that. So Paula, what can we expect next from you? Is there an 8th book coming out in this series, or has it wrapped up?
No, there's an eighth
Okay.
book. Eighth book coming next year. I'm finishing now, and it's been a lot of fun because it's set in apple picking season. It has lots of heirloom apples, and I've learned a lot about apples, and there's a lot to learn about apples. And of
Yeah.
course, it's great storytelling because, starting with Adam and Eve and the Greek myths, you name it, fairy tales, there's apples. So it's been a lot of fun.
Well, so for any of you out there who are Mercy Car fans, it is not ending. It is continuing. So that's exciting to know. And I wanted to ask you, what was my thought? Oh, I've totally lost my train of thought.
When you
Okay,
want to
well,
you want to
well.
talk about Mission Canine Rescue?
Oh, well, I do, but I also wanted to ask you, do you have a favorite book of the 7 that you've written so far? Like, does one stand out to you as, boy, I really put my all into that? That's an amazing story in this series.
Well, of course, the first one, it's kind of like choosing among your children, right? You really don't have a favorite. The first one I loved because it was my first, right?
Okay.
And then the one before this, I love The Snow Lies Deep because it's all about the winter solstice and Christmas and Hanukkah and the darkness and the light. And I think that the world we live in right now, we could use a little light in the darkness, and it's a perfect time of year to set a mystery. So I love that. But the last book was called The Night Woods, and it was my little homage to the Odyssey. And there are some serious New Hampshire settings in The Night Woods. And so, including a fictional version of Corbin Park.
Okay.
With wild boar and all sorts of fun stuff and Dartmouth.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Well, and do you go around to all these different places and just kind of immerse yourself in this geography to help you write about it? Or, I'm just not sure. Are you a prolific writer, or, tell us a little bit about that strategy for you?
Well, I write a book a year, and as a former reporter, I really like to go. I like to go and see it for myself. I like to do the research. They don't really let you into Corbin Park. But I did everything I could to find out what it was like. And of course, been to Dartmouth, and I've been in the wedding plot, which took place in June. I set it during wild orchid blooming season. So we went to Esquabog, which is right over the border in Vermont, where the wild orchids bloom. And you can still see they're rare, the lady slippers. They're rare, and they're endangered, but they're beautiful. So you can see them here in certain wetlands and fogs and bends. So that was fun too.
Well, yeah, it sounds like the process of writing your book is just as exciting as it actually having come out and being published.
Oh yeah, you can't be a writer if you don't like the writing.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you have to love the writing. I tell people, if you don't love the writing, if you aren't really energized by storytelling, then you should do something else, because it's a hard road to hoe. It's not easy to be a successful writer. It's not even easy to be a bad writer, much less a good one. So you have to love it.
Yeah, we've held about 20 live broadcasts with featured authors so far, and everybody seems to echo the same sentiment. So yeah, you do. You have to love the journey as much as the destination. Agreed. Well, Paula, talk to us a little bit about your charitable giving over the years. I know there's some organizations that you support with your books and with donations.
Yes, well, certainly Mission Canine Rescue, which is the organization I told you about that finds these Army dogs and military working dogs and finds them forever homes after they've done their service. And also, I usually give signed copies to local animal rescues, and they write to me from all over the country, and I give them signed copies of the books so that they can use them as fundraisers, because I'm very, all our dogs are rescued or rehomed, and our cat too, a rescue from West Virginia. So I really believe in that cause, and I'm very proud to live in New Hampshire, which is now one of the 4 states in the country where we don't have kill shelters, which, I'm very proud of that. But other states, not so much. So I do what I can. And then, of course, the Vermont Canine Police Association, which has all these fabulous dogs. I help out at their fundraiser. They have a ball every year. My husband and I go. It's the only social event I can get my husband to go to willingly, because it's all dogs and their handlers. It's a lot of fun. And I usually donate a set of the books. signed copies of the books to them. And they've been really great, as have other game wardens and law enforcement here in New Hampshire as well, in terms of my research.
Well, I appreciate the platform that you've created to advocate for all of these wonderful organizations. And I just feel it's so important for authors to incorporate that into the mix, because you have an opportunity to create more awareness. And I'm thank you very much for doing that with your work as well.
Oh, my pleasure.
And if you would like more information, then head on over to paulamunier.com, where you can learn more about Paula. As well as she mentioned, she is an agent, an editor, a writer. She's got many talents. You can learn all about her and her books. Or you can head on over to nhwritersproject.org, where you can learn more excuse me, about Paula, as well as the over 55 additional member authors that we are highlighting. So thank you, everybody, for watching. I appreciate it. Paula, thanks so much for taking time out of your day to join us. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Happy holidays.
Same to you. Everyone have a great day. We appreciate it.
Bye-bye.